Okay, welcome. It is Tuesday, the 26th of September, year of our Lord 2023. A lot happening. An announcement just a moment ago that Speaker McCarthy is going to have a press conference in the Capitol at 7:15, and we will be covering that. Grace Chong and Mo Bannon are going to set up that we can pick up. We'll try to pick up a feed and cover that on Getter, and I'll be on Getter at the time, giving commentary. We know that Mitch McConnell has sent over or we know that they have sent, are in the process of sending a CR over that I don't believe addresses the border. I think the CR talks about $4.5 billion to Ukraine immediately, and also talks about another couple of $1 billion, I think $4 or $5 billion to Maui, to FEMA. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of smash mouth and hardball being played behind the scenes to try to intimidate these members of the House that are standing tall, staying in the breach to try to break the fever. If you do a CR, then nothing changes. Nothing changes. Back to the same addiction. And right now we have a crisis, and that crisis has to be addressed. To show you how funny this is, it's been extended. The Senate continuing resolution goes through November 17th, 47 days out. Why is that? Because Youngkin in Virginia. Remember, Youngkin is trying to win the Senate Virginia so he then can mount a presidential campaign against President Trump. And so they want to give Youngkin plenty of breathing room so the CR goes past that. This is how little they think about this republic, and this is how little they think about you and how smart you are. They think you're dumb enough just to, oh yeah, great, well, 47 days. They need more time. They had all the time in the world. As Andy Ogle said on here the last hour, this is all planned. They knew they had to do the appropriations bill when they cut the, well, first off, they've known all year that the money runs out at the stroke of midnight on Saturday, the 30th of September. They've known that from the very beginning. That does not change. The fiscal year ends there. But they knew in the deals that they cut around the horrible Garrett Graves, Kevin McCarthy, Joe Biden debt deal, which gave Biden regime unlimited spending. And remember, the Biden regime did not ask for the second year. That was offered by McCarthy. He should have been, the motion to vacate should have gone then, of which we strongly advocated, because he essentially set up to destroy the nation's finances. But they promised, and we said that this is all a lie, like the deficit is just going to be under $1 trillion. We said it's going to be 2. Guess what? It's 2. The lie was, oh, well, we'll get it in the appropriations process. They slow walked it. You just heard Andy Ogle's on here. These could have started to be reviewed, debated, amendments, all that hashed out in the June and July timeframe. This is why they had very few working days in June and July, and then took an unprecedented 6 weeks starting August 1st. It was all to get here and have this crisis. And now we have one. And we're in it. I've got, I tell you what, if Todd Bensman can hang on 1 second, we have some breaking news from Raheem Kassam. Raheem, yeah, we have some breaking. Todd, hang on, because a lot of this is coming down on the border. And the pressure and the collapse in the polling on Biden is about the invasion, the Visigoths invading the southern border of the United States. Todd's going to get us up to date on all that. And also what's in, the CR, the one in the House, is supposed to do a lick and a promise for a border. But there's been breaking news, and we just broke the story with Rogan O'Hanley, Raheem Kassam, about not just some influence, but the biggest MAGA influencers have been approached today by a company called Notorious LLC about putting up negative posts, essentially trolling Matt Gaetz and his other cohorts, and also the whole policy of forcing a government shutdown by Biden. If he's going to shut down, if it's not done, it's not done. For however long it takes to get these appropriations bill. You've got some information on this, Raheem Kassam, National Pulse.
Yeah, Steve. I just wanted to chime in here because I think this is all breaking in real time, right? And everybody's sort of trying to figure out what's going on here? What is Notorious LLC? Who are these guys? Who's paying them? And, you know, not to contravene anything that anybody's saying out there, because I am in touch with, you know, people that you and I both know that are on both sides of this argument. But I am being assured at this point in time by people I have known for very many years, and obviously the audience will know I am no fan of Kevin McCarthy. But people who work with Kevin McCarthy on a regular basis have told me that A, this is not coming from them, and B, they are as incensed about this as anybody else on Matt Gaetz' side, on the War Room team, as anything like that. And they are actively trying to run this down to stop this from happening and tell them to stop representing this as kind of a McCarthy world attack on Matt Gaetz. This is a Beverly Hills-based influencer marketing company that I am currently like live as we speak in conversation with one of their employees who is attempting to get his boss on the phone to talk to me about this stuff. So we're going to have, I hope we're going to have reporting on this over the next few hours where we can reveal who's really behind this. But at this point in time, Kevin McCarthy's team are mass, and I've seen text messages that confirm this as well in the last couple of minutes, massively trying to distance themselves from the operation. So people can have their suspicions. Okay. We will continue to have ours. Yep. But just to let people know where we are in our investigation right now. Yeah, go ahead.
But if Speaker McCarthy, I know you know a lot of guys, if Speaker McCarthy's telling us that, then hey, it's open, you know, we're open-minded until we see evidence otherwise. Right. But this is they're trying to take down these heroes that are in the breach now, push polling this, and maybe it's coming from the left. Sure. We'll find out. Raheem's on it. Raheem, also, by the way, we're going to be live here till 7. We're also going to pick up and live stream on Getter, Grace Chung and Mo Bannon, on my Getter account, the War Room's Getter account. The press conference will be up to probably 7:30, 8 o'clock, or maybe later. If you have any breaking news from National Pulse, please join us, and we'd love to update everybody. We know you're on it. Other question, and this is a magnificent interview. Is the interview going to come up tonight, or have you guys pushed it to tomorrow? Can you give us an update? Because our audience members are on the trigger about this one.
The interview has gone up in the last hour. I was just as this other story broke, and you know, you can probably you probably have 20 times the amount of work I do in this regard. But you know, when other stories break, you try and pivot. I was in the middle of writing the email to all the members, letting them know that the story's out when this Gaetz story comes out as well. So we had to pivot to that very quickly. Also, you know, there's been a plethora of stories this afternoon. The Amazon monopoly stuff, the Trump, the far left judge in New York who has ruled that Trump has, you know, misrepresented his company finances, you know, 25 years ago, whatever. So we've been working on all of this stuff right now, but people can go to the site right now, thenationalpulse.com. The full interview with Donald J. Trump is up there for members. If you're not a member by now, shame on you. It's thenationalpulse.com/War Room to sign up. You don't even have to give us any money up front. Your first month is free. Go and watch the interview. I guarantee you are going to want to stick around as a member of that exclusive club once you see this thing. President Trump himself called our interview, you know, great and professional. He rarely ever says that about interviews because he knows that they're combative and they try to debate him and they're out to get him. This is a real interview, an old school interview with you know, the most famous man currently in the world. So thenationalpulse.com/War Room. It's up now, and I'm about to email everyone about it too.
But by the way, the great thing about it, they're tough questions, they're serious questions, and he gives serious answers. That's why it's worth whatever you got to do. Carve out some time. We understand a lot's going on, and you want to keep current on everything that's happening, but carve some time out to enjoy this tonight with you and maybe other family members or other buddies. And once again, you just real quickly, I want to say why this is so important. These influencers have built up this reputation over years and years. I mean, this is some of the most powerful people in the MAGA movement. DC, Drano, Gunther, others. And this is who Notorious reached out to. They understand the credibility that these entities, their platforms have with MAGA, Raheem. This was very well thought through. Well, as soon as I heard about it, I started saying, so who else is on there? I go, wow, they were very smart. They went to people that have tremendous credibility.
Well, and let me say this as well. You know, I've gone through some of their Instagram follows already this afternoon. I found out that they appear to be linked with other major conservative influencer profiles. But it's interesting. Some of these accounts have 220, 250,000 followers, but very low level engagement. We're talking 7, 8, 9 comments on each post. So this to me looks like an influencer marketing bot farm almost. And it's very interesting to see how they were trying to launder information.
No, you can't have that number of followers and only have 7 comments. Doesn't work like that. Raheem, fantastic. We'll look and check back in if you have any updates. Raheem Kassam, National Pulse. Make sure you go to National Pulse right now. Check out all the stories, amazing stories, particularly the one that he just mentioned about the judge, a radical left-wing judge in New York. Mike Davis is going to join us a little later. So Todd Bensman, do we have the cold open for Todd? I want to bring in Todd first and say, Todd, you're right in the middle of this story because the Senate proposal, I don't think touches the border at all. My understanding is the House proposal, in order to win conservatives, is going to talk about HR 2. Why is this such a big deal? And why we're being invaded nonstop? The last couple of days have been insanity. Even the mainstream media is covering it. Why is border security and even being attached or not attached to a CR so important right now?
Well, why border security is important right now is because the numbers that are crossing are the numbers that the intelligence community 6 months ago estimated were going to hit us. It took a couple of months, but it is hitting us now. We're seeing 11,000, 12,000, 14,000 a day. Remember, I've been on your show a bunch of times talking about what the intelligence community was saying was going to happen. That's happening now. All of those predictions are coming true. The southern border, every processing center is overrun. Border Patrol agents have all been pulled off the line to do processing. Every single spigot is on wide open, maximum full right now. And if you're not paying attention to that right now in whatever negotiations you're doing, good luck with your voters and your constituents next time around.
Todd, just get us up to date. Your book last time was about Intel and about ISIS coming across. A lot of people dismissed when Intel came out. What was Intel telling us about the levels, the scale of this many months ago that's come true?
I mean, when it comes to, folks who are coming from countries of national security concern, who are known or suspected terrorists already on the FBI watch list, we've broken every record that there is. We we're up to about 270 that we know of that have been apprehended, that Border Patrol luckily laid hands on. But that's with about 1.8 million gotaways. And that's also a huge record-smashing number as well. And so if you caught 250 or 60 or whatever it is, you have to assume just mathematically, arithmetic tells you that some of these KSTs, known or suspected terrorists, got through into the interior. And that's a big problem. Not to mention that at least 75,000 special interest aliens, these are not known terrorists, but they're from those countries. And the Homeland Security establishment, for a good reason, sets them aside and tags them for interviews and enhanced security screening. Daily Caller recently reported that there were 75,000 of those that crossed in just the last 8 or 9 months. There is no possible way that we are interviewing 75,000. We were lucky to get even 70% interviews when it was 3,000 or 4,000 a year in an entire year. So that whole system, our national security system, is just breaking down under the swell of this incredible, historic, mass migration event, the biggest in U.S. history by far.
This is part of a worldwide effort, though. I mean, you see in Italy right now, Salvini, Le Pen went down there. They don't think Giorgia Meloni's doing enough. You see, once again, Hungary. This issue is from sub-Saharan Africa up to North Africa into Europe. This global migration, and kind of, quite frankly, a lot of it driven off the Global Migration Compact that we oppose and the Trump administration oppose. Biden does not, and the UN has got it. I mean, this is a global phenomenon, is it not?
Well, let me just put it this way, that the people who are in the White House, at the State Department, at DHS, those people are coming from the non-governmental organizations that work with refugees and illegal immigrants to resettle them in the country. Those people are the architects of the policies that have invited all of the entire world in over that southern border. Don't take it from me. I interview thousands of these immigrants and ask them, why are you coming? And the answer is always pretty simple, because you're opening the door. The door's open, so we're going. So if you open the door, they will come. If you build it, they absolutely will come, because they're smart and they're making logical, rational decisions, as you and I often point out here on this show. Why there are people in the world that are completely fine with a wide open border where you accept 90 or 100% of everybody who shows up. I couldn't begin to imagine what that's about, but they say openly that they believe immigration laws are cruel and inhumane and are obsolete and are counter to a moral governance, moral governing, and they want to get rid of immigration laws like some people want to get rid of the federal marijuana law.
Okay, they're going to have a 7:15 press conference. We're just hearing now, this is by Manu Raju at CNN. He's putting out that this is new, that Speaker McCarthy tells his allies he wants to amend the Senate's stopgap CR spending bill to include a House GOP border security package. That would be H.R. 2 minus E-Verify. This, according to multiple sources, teeing up a showdown with the Senate over immigration on the eve of the shutdown deadline. Let me repeat this. The Mitch McConnell approved, just also breaking news. Mitch McConnell's come out and said he's approved what Schumer's putting forward. That is a CR for 47 days. It is absolutely awful. Takes it into mid-November. And what it includes is, I think, $4.5 billion for Ukraine. I think $5 billion for emergency relief. Says nothing about the border, nothing about immigration. How important this border issue is, McCarthy understands he will have absolutely no support among Republicans in the House. First, and as you know, we have the 20, and I think we could actually have more say no on his CR. He's going to pass this. This is going to lead to a huge fight. But, Todd, understanding what you've been reporting on and talking on for a couple of years here, how important it is, I want to go to this, and if we get to it in a second, if we get the Raheem thing, when that's ready to go, let me know when you got it. I want to play that. Let's play this, the interview. This is just a small clip from the interview with President Trump that is up, is being able to air now on National Pulse. But I want to be very specific about the topic President Trump is addressing. Let's go and play it.
We have a president, sadly, where the borders are the worst they've ever been in history. People can't even believe it. You know, when people from other places, other parts of the world, and even from our part of the world, when they look at this, including Democrats, by the way, they cannot believe that millions of people are pouring through our borders, and we have no idea who they are. We have no idea. Right. And we're going to have to be living with this for a while, but we're going to do something in terms of deportation that's going to be a miracle. We're going to clean up our country. Our country is a mess. Our country's going down. And if we don't win this election, Raheem, I will tell you, if this election's not won by us, I don't think our country makes it. I think our country's going to be a tremendous failure.
Todd, you will be proud that your reporting and what you've been talking about at the border is one of the centerpieces of this extraordinary interview. President Trump is very specific in here because he talks about, and as you know, I think he said it last week in, I think it was in South Carolina or in Iowa. Excuse me, it was in Iowa. The largest domestic mass deportation effort operation in American history he will undertake. Now, President Trump is not, he's not just saying the criminals and as he says, unlocking the insane asylums. He's saying mass deportation. I want you to tell this audience of how the Biden regime right now is already gaming the system, that even with the biggest effort President Trump could put in, as he says, to clean up the country, it may not be doable, sir.
Right. Because the administration, the Biden administration, has fixed this thing so that you can't track people down. It didn't require valid addresses on the intake side of this. So you have hundreds of thousands from a Department of Homeland Security Office of Inspector General report out the week before last that is outrageous. They tracked down the addresses that were given and found that they went to, like, Wendy's hamburger stands and car washes, and the same address was used 5,000 times and that sort of thing. So good luck tracking them down. But I will say this, that any president, any elected head of our executive branch is constitutionally obligated to try, because there is a clause in the Constitution that reads that you will faithfully execute the will of Congress. And the will of Congress is set up in the Immigration and Nationality Act that was approved and amended several times, that says you shall detain, you shall deport. And if you're the president and you're not doing that, you are in violation of a basic constitutional construct. And Steve, can I just veer off from something you said a little bit earlier that comes as news to me, and it's important, if I have a minute. You said that as part of the negotiations that the House took E-Verify out of H.R. 2. This is very significant. It tells you a lot. E-Verify is the mechanism by which employers must verify that an immigrant is authorized to work in the United States. If they took out E-Verify, that tells you a lot about the Republican side of this, which is motivated by cheap labor, higher profits from the cheap labor, and maybe the ability to sell more houses and more things and more stuff. And this has been an Achilles heel for forever for both sides, but especially for the Republican side, that do not want to shut that border down deep down in their guts. Don't want to really shut it down because there's just too much money to be made. And that is very significant that they took E-Verify out for that reason.
They took it out. Real quickly, I think you sent me the report. Is it? I did read the report. I think you sent it to me. It could have been other people. 97% of the folks they're checking on the border, they're letting in the country. Is that the number that I'm hearing? 97%.
Right. I have a piece out. We're fighting with CBP, my Center for Immigration Studies, litigating over my FOIA that I put in back in March for just basic numbers and accounting of the CBP-1 quasi-legal entry permit program. They're flying them in by plane. They're bringing them in over the ports of entry with this CBP-1 app. Okay. So what I asked for was the number of rejections, the number of times that they declared somebody ineligible, and they came back with a particular pool from one of the programs of 225,000 that they let in on CBP-1, and of those they rejected 698, which is 0.31,
God.
which tells us that there is no security vetting going on here. They are waving them in through the turnstile indiscriminately and hurriedly, just to move them in and get them off that border. And God knows what that's going to mean. They are not vetting. The reason that's important is because they sold this whole program to the American public as everybody who comes through this is going to be heavily vetted and they're all going to be clean as the driven snow. There is no way that they only found 0.03 percent that are ineligible.
I want to check with you after. I want to check with you after the show. I got to get you back on the morning show. Go through this last thing. I've been told by intelligence sources in the 10 million either here or projected to be here by the time the Biden regime ends, that they're already, they say 50,000 to 100,000 fighting age Chinese nationals that have come in. And they don't think those folks are running from the CCP. Any thoughts about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, look, we have no idea. It's true. There are a lot of Chinese nationals crossing the southern border right now. Maybe some of them are economic migrants. Maybe some of them don't want to live in a Chinese under the communists. Granted, but if I were the Chinese communists or the PLA, I would send spies through our border. You're an idiot if you're not sending spies through that border. They're putting spies in all of our other legal visa non-immigrant programs all the time. We're prosecuting them. We've got court records out the wazoo detailing all of these elaborate intelligence operations at UCLA and MIT and all of our institutions, stealing our stuff, our best tech. So of course, why wouldn't there be a percentage of them coming over the border? It's going to take some time to ferret them out.
Todd, real quickly, what's your social media? How they get your books?
Yeah, Bensman Todd at X. I'm also at Getter and Truth Social. The book is Overrun, all about this border crisis, how it started and how to get out of it. Overrun, anywhere books are sold.
It's a powerful book. We'll be back with Mike Davis in a moment.
War Room Battleground with Stephen K. Bannon.
Okay, the Senate has passed, breaking news, the Senate has passed with Mitch McConnell's full support, 72 to 18. So that means, I can't do the math totally here, but that means almost 20 Republicans, quote unquote, voted for this. It includes, wait for this, $6.1 billion of Ukraine aid. Not the 4.5, they get 6.1 and $6 billion of FEMA. So they're trying to play off the poor folks in Maui with $6 billion. That takes the count and the amount up to over $120 billion. Told you that was the number. They kept 60 Minutes people said, well, it's 40 billion or 70 billion. I said, no, it's not. You got to add everything in. McCarthy 715. McCarthy's going to include a border provision, HR2, but even that's performative. You heard they took E-Verify out. They have enough right now to home and rule on Mayorkas. This is why you have to go through the appropriations process. McCarthy brought this on himself. He brought it on the nation. He knew this was happening. They should get no support. 202-225-3121. In fact, 202-224-3121 is the Senate. Make sure you call right now. We don't have who actually voted for it, but I imagine it's the usual suspects with McConnell. So make sure that you go and ask your senator right now how he voted. So I told you tonight, and Matt Gaetz gave you a heads up, tonight's going to be a tough night. Press conference at 7:15 in 45 minutes. We will cover that up on Getter, and of course we'll put it on Rumble also. birchgold.com/Bannon. Right now, get the fourth installment. Make sure you're totally up to speed on really what's been the weaponization of the U.S. dollar. You have to understand that. You also have to understand central bank digital currency. You have to understand why the central banks of the BRICS nation that are leading the de-dollarization effort, why they're buying gold at record rates. Ask Philip Patrick and the team there. Ask them for what all the tax-free vehicles they have and instruments, but that's for you to deal with them. These guys have been tremendous in helping us here put out the end of the dollar empire, because that's where we're going through. And one of the reasons we're going through it is exactly what's happening tonight. This puts the whole cartel. You're going to see over the next 48 to 72 hours, ladies and gentlemen, who actually governs you. Is it these patriots standing in the breach, or is it the cartel members? And I think you're going to be quite shocked on these Senate votes, but this is telling you. So if you got the Tom Cottons, these other guys that are voting for this, make sure that you get them on the phone and give them the old what for. Okay, I want to play. I got two pieces of news coming out. We've asked Mike Davis. He's changed his schedule. Let's play the first one about this radical judge in New York City. This is from MSNBC, a short clip. Let's play that, and we'll bring in Mike Davis.
Okay, we've got major breaking news, a major loss in court for Donald Trump in the civil suit brought by the New York Attorney General Tish James. A New York state judge has just ruled that Donald Trump committed fraud by exaggerating the value of his assets in financial statements. This was a major plank of Tish James's case against Donald Trump. That case is set to go to trial on Monday. Donald Trump's attorneys had also asked to throw out the case, and the judge denied that request. The Attorney General James's lawsuit seeks $250 million in fines and to bar the Trump family from doing business.
Okay, I want to bring in Mike Davis. They went in for a summary judgment. Walk us through what happened about this case. This case has gotten actually very little coverage, and the trial starts on Monday if it continues to go down this path. Mike Davis, where are we on this?
Yeah, this is a total joke of a ruling by this partisan Democrat judge in New York. The Democrat New York Attorney General Tish James had this Democrat judge simply rule that Trump committed fraud, no trial, no jury, and it's for the non-fraud of Trump paying back sophisticated Wall Street banks in full with interest. We've been talking about this for almost a year, Steve. This is Democrat lawfare. This is election interference. Let me just give you one example from this. This partisan Democrat judge pretends that Mar-a-Lago is only worth $17 million. Mar-a-Lago is worth well over $1 billion. A tennis court at Mar-a-Lago is worth $17 million. But regardless, that is a factual issue, a factual dispute for the jury to decide in a trial, not for this partisan judge to just decide on his own without a trial. This is clearly a constitutional violation of Trump's Seventh Amendment rights and his due process rights. He needs to take this up on appeal. Unfortunately, these New York courts are garbage. They're Marxist hellhole garbage courts run by Democrat judges. So it seems like the Supreme Court of the United States may have to step in on this case once again because of this lawfare against Trump.
So in going for a summary judgment, a summary judgment is not where a guy comes out and makes a ruling. It's just saying, hey, there's not enough facts to support a summary judgment. You got to go to trial. How did is this just overhyped by the left-wing media, or the judge actually come out and say this? Because it sounds, correct me if I'm wrong, it's kind of a bizarre thing to put in a summary judgment. A summary judgment usually say, no, you're going to have to go to trial, or no, there's not enough here to take the guy to trial. But they don't really make these kind of statements or judgments that the judge made. How did that happen?
Because this judge is a buffoon. He's a partisan clown. Judge Arthur Engoron, I think is how I pronounce his name. Look, how summary judgment works is if there are no disputes of material fact. If both sides agree on the facts, you don't need the jury to decide the facts, and therefore you can just go forward and have the judge decide the case on summary judgment. There are disputed facts in this case, lots of disputed facts. I just gave you one, $1 billion worth of versus $17 million on the valuation of Mar-a-Lago. This is clearly a legal error here, but the problem is that New York is stacked by these Democrat partisan Marxist judges, and so there's no chance in hell that Trump's going to get a fair trial or a fair appeal on any of this stuff in New York.
Is as you see it now, does the actual civil trial start on Monday?
It sounds like it. And look, here's another example. This judge sanctioned like 5 of Trump's attorneys, very reputable attorneys, including Chris Keiss, sanctioned them for making legal arguments. And this judge, as part of your job as a lawyer, you even need to make legal arguments to preserve issues for appeal, so you can overturn precedent you think is wrongly decided. You can overturn that on appeal. This judge, this partisan Democrat judge, sanctioned these lawyers for doing their job by making these arguments. And this judge said that these arguments are frivolous. It is absurd what is happening here. How can it be a fraud if Trump paid back all of these sophisticated Wall Street banks in full with interest? Where are the damages to these banks? That there has to be damage in order for there to be fraud.
No, they said on the top of the financial statements, this is all subject to your review, to your due diligence to come up with these valuations independently, these cash flows independently. I mean, they put their best effort. They gave the historicals, but the projections going forward and how they came to the valuations, it couldn't be clear. I mean, having done it for a living for many, many decades, it was a standard thing you see in every company. And he did not include the brand. The brand's not included. This is kind of the hard money, and you're right. Mar-a-Lago's in there for $17 million. I think that's like the price that he bought it essentially out of a government bankruptcy back in the 70s. It's just extraordinary what they're doing to him. The sanctions also is not just to sanction the lawyers. The sanctions are to put a shot across the bow of any law firm that would want to represent President Trump. I mean, this is just raw lawfare. We've seen the numbers, particularly in the minority community. They're shifting more to Trump's side, particularly African-American and Hispanic men. And one of the reasons they're sitting there going, the system, for some reason, wants to destroy Trump. Maybe because he wants to represent me. And so, but you're seeing the raw version of it right here. And by the way, Jack Smith, what happens in Florida, what happens with Jack Smith, Fonnie Willis, this is just a preamble of what, because this is not even criminal. This is just civil. This is a preamble of what we're going to see, Mike Davis.
Oh, Steve, we've been talking about this for over a year. This is Democrat lawfare. This is election interference. And this is not going to stop if they take out Trump. I agree with you. They've turned Trump into Tupac. I think he's going to win a sizable chunk of the black vote, maybe 15 or 20% of the black vote. They make up 13% of the population. They vote 95% Democrat. You change that to 85 or 80%, there's no chance in hell Democrats can win. And that's what they're terrified of now, is they've turned Trump into a legend. But look, this is what I have been saying. We've been saying this for over a year, Steve, is look, they're not going to stop with Trump. They're not going to say, okay, now that the MAGA wing of the Republican Party is gone, we can go back to norms. These are Marxists. This is the Marxist left. And look at 100 years of Marxism with 100 million people who have been killed, including fellow Marxists. This is not going to end well. This is why House Republicans need to step up immediately with 2 appropriations riders being that Article 3 project came up with, being championed by Andrew Clyde, a good congressman down in Georgia, that no federal funds can go to this lawfare and election interference on or before November 5th, 2024. And if any state or local jurisdiction like Tish James in New York or Fannie Willis out in Fulton County, Georgia, pursue this election interference and lawfare, they lose all federal funding, right? We need to let the American people, not these Democrat prosecutors and Democrat judges and Democrat juries and these Democrat hellholes like New York, D.C., and Atlanta decide the next election.
There are no coincidences. So we just had a blockbuster announcement by Comer. I'm going to get into that in a second. But doesn't it strike you as odd when the first impeachment hearings on Thursday, and of course we got this firestorm on the appropriations, the CR, the government, and part of the amendment is yours about having the Republicans really drill into this and identify where this lawfare is and stop funding it right away. That all of a sudden, over the weekend, we get Menendez, right? We get Menendez indicted on all these charges. And then today he had another bomb drop that turns out Jake Sherman and the guys working for him over State Department have had Iranian intelligence assets, in their life, where Malley, the lead guy over there, has his very high security clearance pulled, and he's kind of fired. Isn't that strange? I want you to walk through what Comer just announced, but you got Comer's hearing set up, then Comer just makes a huge announcement, and all you're hearing now is kind of, I don't know, are these supposed to be distractions that just randomly now just kind of pop up around to kind of Bigfoot any announcement on Biden?
Yeah, I mean, so Joe Biden, who says he knew nothing about Hunter's foreign business dealings, nothing about China. Comer now has the wire transfers going into Hunter Biden's accounts. They have the ownership of the account at Joe Biden's house in Delaware, and this is in 2019 when Joe Biden is running for the presidency of the United States. I mean, I don't know how much more these Republicans need to move forward with serious impeachment inquiry on Joe Biden for his foreign bribery, his foreign corruption. He's a compromised president of the United States, subject to blackmail against Merrick Garland for covering up for his boss. And look, now they're going after Menendez. Okay, yeah, Menendez might be a crook, but why are they going after him now? How long have they had this evidence, and why are they going after him now? Could it be that he is balking at Biden's Iran deal, the Obama-Biden-Iran deal, and Menendez was the very powerful chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, and under the Democrat rules, the Senate Democrats' rules, if you're indicted, you have to step down as the chairman. So they were able to get Menendez out of the way in charge of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee so they can jam through more of this Obama-Biden, terrorism money to Iran.
Before I let you go, the appropriations process, do we have enough there now to actually start to de-woke and de-weaponize and defang FBI, DOJ? Is this appropriations process so important for this to go on right now, sir?
Yes. I mean, I wrote a Fox News opinion piece that we've talked about on here, Steve, where House Republicans need to use the power of the purse. The federal government can't spend money unless the House and the Senate appropriate it. So Biden and the Senate Democrats can't appropriate money without the House Republicans. So House Republicans need to put the federal government on a crash diet. And we need to go back to pre-COVID levels of spending minimally. And then they need to have appropriations writers to defund this woke agenda, this Marxist agenda by the Marxist left, including this lawfare against Trump, this election interference, going after parents angry at school board meetings because of the gender chaos at schools, going after Christians, imprisoning Christians, praying outside of abortion clinics while they give amnesty to transgender terrorists who are firebombing Catholic churches. The Biden administration has let our border go wide open. 10 million people flooding across our border, illegal economic migrants flooding our cities. Now these so-called sanctuary cities in New York and Chicago, they're raising hell about this because we've been overwhelmed. House Republicans need to use the power of the purse. They need to use oversight. They need to use impeachment to hold President Biden accountable.
Mike Davis, is going to be quite a intense week. How do people follow you on social media? How do they get to Article 3?
Article3project.org, article number 3project.org. You can donate there at Article 3 Project, at article number 3 Project on Getter, Twitter, Truth. And my personal is at MRDDMIA, MRDDMIA. And thank you, Steve.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for coming on here. Make sure you go to Home Title Lock today, HomeTitleLock.com. They're one of the sponsors of the 6 o'clock hour here in the war room. I want to thank all the folks at Home Title Lock. They're trying to save you from having the cyber criminals get into your title of your home and take out a big old hard money second mortgage that you're not going to be able to pay off. HomeTitleLock.com. Go there today. Joe Crash joins us from iTarget. Joe, one of the things we try to do here is self-reliance. We understand the economy is killing the working class and middle class. One of the things we hear all the time, particularly people that are gun owners, believe in the Second Amendment, believe in being able to defend themselves, is how expensive they want to be proficient. They want to do reps, like we say in sports. They want to go to the gun range, but the ammunition, the time, all that, oftentimes is prohibitively expensive, particularly when you're trying to show young people maybe it's their first gun, or your wife or girlfriend. iTarget's come up with a solution for that. Tell us about it, sir.
Uses a laser that goes into your actual firearm. And over here I have the iTarget Pro set up. I've shown you this in the past where you shoot it. So this is a real gun. It has the laser bullet in it, but you can see on the screen there how the camera of the phone picks up where the shots hit. But we've come out with a new product. It's called the iTarget Cube. And this is kind of a next level thing. And we just got a large supply of them in for the holidays. And we're going to give a discount on them to your customers tonight with the code WARROOM20 if they use that. And these are really a cool product because these allow you to have, you can put them anywhere in your house where you have Wi-Fi. They connect to your phone through Wi-Fi. And so then you can do clearing drills, or you can have them set up and have different people shooting at them at the same time to see who's faster. So I'm going to just show you how that works.
3, 2, 1, go.
So they beep and then you shoot them.
2.31, 2.66, 3.38.
So it tells you how fast you're able to shoot each one of them. So this is our latest product, and they've been really good.
Joe, I want to show everybody, reinforce right there why this is so safe, why the gun is cleared and you put the laser in. I want to make sure people understand that's how you can use it around the home.
Well, here's the gun. There's no ammo in it. There's no way you can have an accidental discharge. The laser actually goes right into, here's the laser. So that goes right into the chamber. So it's impossible to have any accidental misfires or anything like that. So when I invented the product, it was so my wife could get comfortable using the gun because she was scared to touch it. I couldn't even take her to the range, but it's like a gateway drug. Once she started doing this, now she goes to the range and she loves shooting. So, so it gets people, it makes you comfortable training someone that's new because they're nervous, and that makes you nervous because they're waving it around or whatever if it's loaded. So you can get rid of those bad habits right off. You treat it as though it's a real gun and real ammo. It is a real gun, but you treat it as though it's loaded with real ammo, and you teach them proper safety.
And the power of this is that this is not toy. You actually use your own gun, put the laser in there, and that's what you're using. You're training on your own weapon.
Yeah, so you get used to the sights of your own weapon. You can practice. A lot of gun ranges won't let you even practice pulling your gun out of a holster. But you can practice that at home now. And truth be told, I mean, if you're ever in a confrontation where someone's, coming at you with a firearm, that first shot coming out of your holster is life or death. So, you can train that at home.
Joe, how do people go? One more time. Tell us, where do they go?
Yeah, our website's itargetpro.com. And again, we're having a special War Room 20. We'll get them 20% off the cubes.
Joe Crouch, iTarget. We swear by here in the War Room. Make sure you go check it out today. Joe, thank you very much for inventing this, and thank you for coming forward. Great way to, particularly people just getting into firearms. Fantastic training. Repetitions. Go check out birchgold.com/Bannon tonight. Get the 4th installment, The Assassination of American Prosperity. I think you will learn a lot about your country over the last 40 or 50 years, about the economic history of it, how it impacts you personally. Go check it out today. Check the guys, talk to the people at Birch Gold. Why the central banks of some of the biggest economies in the world are buying gold at record rates. Okay, the press conference has been pushed to 8. We'll be on Getter and Rumble. Check us out at 8. And we're back here tomorrow live at 10 a.m. See you back in the War Room.